Boom. We are live. Welcome. This is Moving to Change podcast. Host Dave Frizz. We got Dennis Williams, Andrew Stone. Talking draft. We're talking draft. We're talking draft. Other news, obvious news, Aaron Rodgers overshadowing the whole NFL draft. All these rookies want their moment, their 15 minutes, and here's Rodgers taking it all. So that'll be talked about. Other than that, yeah. So what do we think? I know we were just talking a bit about it before we went live. Bengals, the Bungles. So let's hear it, boys.
Andrew, you want to start this off?
I'll start it off. This was a what the hell are they doing moment. Jamar Chase is a beast. He's a great weapon for Joe Burrow. He'll work well along on the opposite side of the offense as T. Higgins. But you got to protect Burrow. He's the future of your franchise. When the best offensive tackle is sitting there at 5 and you need him, you take him. You shouldn't second guess that pick. I don't know what they were thinking. Burrow and Chase have great chemistry. They won a national championship, worked great together in college. It should all work out. They did get a guard in the second round, so that should help the offensive line a little bit. But again, just what the hell were they thinking? It's just baffling to me that they passed on Sewell at 5. But that's all I got to say about the Bengals.
Hey, that's all there really is to say about the Bengals. Is what else did they really do of any importance in the draft? Not much. Not much to me.
Yeah, man, and Sewell. When I do basically who I feel are the 10 best players in this draft. I had Sewell third behind Kyle Pitts and Trevor Lawrence. And for the Bengals to pass on a guy who I feel is the third best player in the draft a wide receiver. Granted, like Andrew said, Jamar Chase is a beast. Him and Burrow had great chemistry together. Won a national title. Put up monster numbers in 2019. But again, when you got Sewell right there available to you, and you pass up on him. And by the way, big props to the Detroit Lions for drafting him. To get a guy who I feel is the third best player in the draft at number 7, that's big time for them. And he's going to definitely be able to protect Jared Goff.
Yeah, Goff is.
Yeah, man.
Goff, that's good for Goff.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And but yeah, I'm definitely baffled by what the Cincinnati Bengals did in the draft. Even though Jamar Chase is a good wide receiver, not a good, an excellent wide receiver.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And and like Andrew said, him and Burrow got great chemistry, and to go along with T. Higgins, that's going to be a nice wide receiver duo. But hopefully, they're able to keep Burrow upright so that he can get the ball to those wide receivers. So
yeah, no, that's the main issue. Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier. He's probably just going to end up getting hurt again. It'll end up being an Alex Smith situation where it could be a career ender. It's his second year. I'm not saying it didn't necessarily end Alex Smith's career, but you guys know what I mean.
Definitely.
Andrew looks frozen up here.
I'm frozen.
Oh, no, there you go. Now you're moving. You're like frozen on my screen.
I'm moving on mine.
So, Jacksonville. What do we think about Jacksonville bringing 2 teammates together in this draft?
I'll get into Jacksonville to start here. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, everybody knew. If we still lived in the days where the team with the first pick could sign the guy they want a couple weeks before the draft, this would have already been done. He's got all the tools. He's 6'6". He can make all the throws. Just from watching some tape on him, he can make throws in the tight windows, but sometimes he likes to sit there and wait for his receiver to get wide open. Can't do that in the NFL, so he'll work with that. or work on that. Then they got ETN later in the first round. A lot of people thought ETN might fall to the Bills or the Bills might trade up for him. But they took ETN right after Najee Harris came off the board. So they took the next best running back there was. Obviously, Lawrence and ETN know each other. Then in the second round, Jacksonville went out and got him a tackle, protect him. Smart move. I think Jacksonville had a good draft. They're going to be a problem in that division.
Yeah, overall, I think they had the best draft they've had in probably 10 years. Like, let's be honest.
They're going to be a problem in that division in a couple years. Urban Meyer, first-year head coach, looks like he drafted players and is bringing in players so he could bring some of his philosophy and coaching style from college into the NFL. I think it'll work great. They like you and me both said, Dave. I'm sure Dennis would agree. They had a pretty good draft, and we'll see what they can do with it. That's all I got for that.
Yeah, no. Jacksonville, I mean, I wouldn't say I've been a fan of theirs, but I remember, I used to like them when I was younger, and to see them actually stop fucking up, kind of like, it's almost like, it's about time. It's like the Bills. Yeah. It's about time.
Most definitely. And we all knew Trevor Lawrence was going number one. That was a no-brainer. But for them to get his college teammate that he played with for 3 years, Travis Etienne, we talked about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase having chemistry. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne really have chemistry because they were teammates for 3 years.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So
and he's a good safety net. He's going to be a good safety net for him, too.
Yeah, he's already comfortable with him, so he knows what he can and cannot do,
Yeah, if nothing's there, he could just dump it off to him.
Absolutely. I see that happening more often than not still because it is the Jaguars. And Jaguars going to Jaguar. So, I mean, let's hope either, the offensive line steps up and, maybe Trevor Lawrence just blows it out of the water, but it's probably going to be rough at first. Let's be honest.
It's going to be a shaky first season, I think. They'll show flashes, but they aren't going to win. I don't think they'll win the division. I do think they could make the playoffs.
I think so.
In that division. I think they'll challenge the Titans. I still think the Titans are the favorite to win that division.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Jacksonville is going to be hot on their tail. But we'll see. Like I said, the only knock on Lawrence I have is, like I said, he likes to wait for his receivers to get wide open, nobody within 10 yards of him sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other thing with Lawrence is, and this comes down to mental, he hasn't lost his entire life, but a couple times.
Yeah, he's got like a .944 win percentage, I think is what it was. We're like,
how does he handle losing 2, 3, 4 games in a row? Because that could happen.
No, it could definitely. And what I think, honestly, as was either a transcript or from a little interview that he had pre-draft, where he's like, maybe winning might not be, the most important thing in my life, and I'm like, is it just because you're used to it? So you're like, oh, it comes naturally to me. Like that, the NFL is a whole different story. Like I don't think he was too cocky or anything about it. I think he's gonna be humbled though. I really do. I think he's ready for the most part, but I think there's a lot of work he's got to do too. So I mean, any NFL quarterback that comes in as a rookie, like they're gonna put a lot of pressure on him. I think. Like, do we know anything about Gardner Minshew or anything like that, or what happened? Or is happening? Just gonna battle it out.
I don't see it being a battle.
Yeah, it'll probably end up being like Gardner week 1, week 2, and then they'll be like, all right, let's get you in here now, and that's how I see it happening. They're gonna be like, we got to shoehorn him in here somehow, get some wins.
I think he's gonna start from day one.
You think so?
Yes, I do. I think.
Okay.
I think
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think he just totally outplays Minshew in training camp.
Okay. I can see it. I really can see it. But
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's really it could go either way.
Yeah.
Easily.
It all comes down to what Urban Meyer thinks is best for the team. He is one of the most successful college coaches of all time.
Right. Which
for a reason.
I know, but is it really going to transfer to the NFL like that though? Maybe not. I don't know. That's one of those.
It's hard to say. I mean,
a wild card in all this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a coach who, he doesn't stay at a place for a long period of time. He coached at Bowling Green. He had success there. Then he went to Utah. He had Alex Smith there.
He made Alex Smith.
He did.
He did.
He went to Florida. We all know the success he had there. He won a couple of titles. He brought in Tim Tebow, who we'll talk about later.
Oh yeah.
Won a couple of titles there, but then he had quote unquote health problems, and he sat down for a year. Then he went to Ohio State.
His dream job. That was his dream job at Ohio
State. But then
which I wasn't complaining either because I love Ohio State. So I'm like, yeah, all right, come and win here too. Why don't you? No, he is
at Ohio.
And I really think he's got the potential. But
his ability to coach defense is very underrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
When he won that national championship in Ohio State, they beat Oregon, who had the most high-powered offense in the country that year, and historically good in college.
Oh, they were tearing everybody up, yeah.
They were tearing people apart. They won their playoff game by 40.
Yeah.
And Urban Meyer shut them down.
Yeah.
In the national championship. So his defensive coaching is very underrated. He's always had a high-powered offense.
Who's the one big – it was either 2017, 2018, the one main cornerback that came from them. He was all over the field.
Jabril Peppers.
No.
Was it Jabril Peppers?
Was not, but he was awesome too. I don't remember his name. I'll have to look that up real quick.
The Ohio State's had a few DBs.
Derwin James. I think was Derwin James from Ohio State. It wasn't him, was it?
No, Derwin James went to I think he went to Florida State.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't remember, but I just remember watching him, and I'm like, damn, this dude is everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Like I said, it all comes back, Jacksonville is building something down there, and they made smart draft choices in every round too. I don't want to go top to bottom on their entire draft, but they had a good draft.
No, but if it was, it's worth paying attention to that much, honestly, because they actually did something worthwhile than, the stuff they've been doing, just shitting the bed every year.
Right.
Like hoping Leonard Fournette was like their safety net, and that just did not work out.
But he's a Super Bowl champion now, so.
I don't think he's complaining. Exactly, yeah. I don't think he's complaining at all. Well, excuse me. Let's see.
So
I'm going to change this a little bit, and we are going to go hometown for a few. Bills.
Let's do it. Do it.
Let's draft the biggest motherfuckers in the draft. Every single one of them, except the one dude is 6'3". We just signed an undrafted offensive tackle actually like about an hour ago, and it was like 6'6" or something, like 320. And I'm like, okay, let's draft the biggest kids ever.
Yeah.
Like the one is what, 6'8". You got 6'6" in there, and they're all big. They're all big. Like Rousseau. You see him next to Bean.
You see that picture of him and McDermott?
Yeah.
He makes his coach, who's twice his age, look like a little kid. I
mean, he's a monster, but he's one of those. He's raw. Our second round pick, both of them are raw. Yeah.
Boogie.
Yeah. Which they had great stats. Like 1 year, each of them had great stats.
Russo sat out 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them are going to be projects. Both of them are probably going to be worth the pick, I think, as long as they're coached up right.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to Frazier and what he does.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of more interested in our offensive tackle that we got in the third round.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's what, 6'6", 310, played basketball, like.
An
Yeah,
athlete.
for some reason they keep bringing that up. Like that's like the biggest part. I can see like blocking him out and shit like that. But yeah, no, solid draft, underrated draft. Everybody's shitting on it.
Yeah, the Bills. People are shitting on it, but I think they snuck under the radar on this draft. Personally, they had a sneaky good draft.
Solid depth, mostly depth.
Mostly
And
depth.
we do a lot of rotation anyway, so let's be real. They're probably going to get them in there at some point, no matter what. Even if they're not quite ready.
I tell you what, man, the Buffalo Bills the last like 3 or 4 years have really low-key drafted really well. I mean, I don't know if people are really paying attention to what they've been doing.
Nobody pays attention to the Bills.
Draft, but the last 3 or 4 drafts is like, oh, Buffalo, okay, I see you. They're actually drafting well. They're drafting for depth. They're drafting smart. Obviously, you got Josh Allen, who's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. So you got that going. Underrated a defense that doesn't have a lot of big names, but they just get the job done.
Except this past year.
Other than that corner, what's his name? Tre'Davious White?
Trey White.
Yeah, Trey White. Yeah. Other than him, they don't have a lot of big names on defense, but they just get the job done.
Yeah.
2 big names. Well, not big. I won't go big, but like 2 decent, really good names on our defense.
Micah Hyde.
Yep, and Jordan Poyer.
Yes,
Yeah.
those good.
They're
good players.
They're the best safety tandem in the league.
Yeah.
I will say it, and I'm biased because of that.
I'm not trying to be a homer, but they're the best safety tandem in the league.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Unless they're trying to cover DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, which I mean, let's be real here.
I want to talk a little bit about what the Bills did a little bit on what they did last year. They got off to the great start. They started 4-0. They lost a couple of games there. They got blown out by Tennessee. They got manhandled, even though the final score didn't reflect it. They were pretty much dominated by the Chiefs. But then in Buffalo, but then they just ripped off an incredible run. They had a bunch of 20-point wins. They're a Hail Mary pass away from ending the regular season on a 10-game winning streak.
Which is crazy for us. Like
that's almost unheard of.
Yeah, you don't see that around here.
I mean, teams do it, but it's not something that happens every year.
No. Yeah. Not just ripping them off one by one like that. And like the last 4 or 5 weeks were dominant too.
And the final game of the season, Miami went into that week with the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, and the Bills hung 56 on them. 28 of which came in the first half, and then the starters sat down, and the second string came in and proceeded to stomp the shit out of them.
Yeah, so dignity after that one.
And Miami needed to win that game to try to get into the playoffs too.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
The thing about this Bills draft is, outside of Russo, there's no big names. Occasionally in the second and third rounds, you'll get guys that people know quite a bit about. But Boogie Basham, second round, everyone's like, who?
Yeah, exactly. Well, not so much on Boogie though, because he was actually technically like projected in some drafts like higher than Russo.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but the tackle
that'd be an interesting thing to watch right there.
And like that, as Dennis said, the past few Bills drafts have sort of been underrated and picked apart. But I think that people haven't been focusing on the Bills draft so much the past few years is because in the media, everybody in the media so wants to be right about Josh Allen not being a good quarterback. And then he went out last year and proved them all wrong.
Yeah,
Diggs had a lot to do with that. if Diggs wasn't here last year, I don't think Josh Allen had the season he had.
Probably not.
But I still think he had would have had a decent year.
I think either way, he probably would have had a better year than the prior year, just for the fact of him growing and actually getting the ball out when he's supposed to, paying attention to his reads and shit.
But Russo, Boogie, I mean, they just went size in this draft. I mean, and on the defensive side of the ball, that's been one of the biggest knocks against them is they get pushed around.
Yeah, like one of our biggest guys on the defense was Epinesa. He's still small himself. Like,
I'm glad you brought him up. I'm glad you brought him up because I am excited to see Russo, Basham, and Epinesa. If the Bills if they could develop those three guys, because Russo's a guy they can move down inside, bring back. Those are guys you can bring on the field and have all three of them on the field at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a scary pass rush. Epinesa has all the tools.
He's just got to get them all.
They wanted him to get his weight back up because he came in a little lighter than they wanted him at the start of last season.
Right.
So if he gets his weight back up and continues to develop his skill set, those three guys, if they can develop all three of them, that is terrifying for quarterbacks, I think.
Oh, especially Russo. I mean, like, he's just so long and so big.
He's so long. The one highlight they showed of him, he just, at the snap, he just pushed the guy away from him, and his arms were so long that the offensive lineman couldn't get his hands on him to do anything, and Russo just threw him to the side and sacked the quarterback for a 7-yard loss,
Yeah.
And it happened like that. It was quick.
No, he's explosive, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we think quarterbacks first time ever going, or not first time ever, I was kidding. They almost went.
I predicted first time ever, 4 straight quarterbacks.
I actually predicted you guys would get Pitts, and there you go. You got a nice tight end to hopefully replace Julio.
I want to talk about Atlanta for a minute. New head coach, new GM. I love Matt Ryan, but I believe it's time to start thinking about after Matt Ryan. Don't got to get rid of him right away. I like the idea of them drafting Fields. He went to the Bears, obviously, which was a great pick for them, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But Kyle Pitts was the best player in this draft at any position, according to a lot of experts. And I'm no expert, but just from watching the tape, he's great. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete. They have him at tight end. That's his position, but he's more of a yoked up wide receiver.
Yeah, he really is.
Very Aaron Hernandez type body, type
maybe
playing
without
style.
the murder, but
yeah, hopefully all of the ability, none of the personality. But I think he's a great pickup, and I like their second round pick too, Richie Grant, the safety. They lost Keanu O'Neal to free agency this year. He signed in Dallas. Richie Grant, very comparable player to Keanu O'Neal. Keanu O'Neal was more of the drop the hammer type safety.
Mm-hmm.
He was decent in coverage. Richie Grant can do it all. He's another one of those players that's raw though. He's got to. Once he figures out where he's supposed to be in every situation, I think he'll be a good addition to that defense.
Oh, absolutely.
New head coach, new GM. It's Atlanta. Who knows what it could be great, or it could be 4-12 again. Who knows?
All right, Dennis. What do you think? We're gonna go. Let's just keep going with teams here. What do you think with Denver? What'd you boys do?
I mean, we drafted Patrick Surtain from Alabama. Second straight year, we selected an Alabama guy in the first round. Last year we got Jerry Jeudy.
I love that pick last year, though. For Jeudy.
Yeah,
that was a great pick.
I don't love our starting. I don't love Drew Lock. Well, not only do I not love him, I actually kind of loathe Drew Lock. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, I like the pick. I like Surtain. You know, I thought he was the best defensive player on that Alabama team, on a team that's loaded with NFL players.
Insane amount of.
It's a safe pick. You know, it was safe. You know,
I mean, it was a position you needed to. I mean, go ahead.
I liked it. I thought that was a good pick. I had him fall into the Cowboys. But yeah, that's a good pick for Denver. Like Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. It's going to be interesting to see how that quarterback battle plays out. I personally think they should go with Teddy Bridgewater.
I do too.
Oh yeah.
I do too.
Just because, not only based on me thinking he's a better quarterback, but the experience. Drew Lock, I don't even know where he came from.
Did he get drafted? He was drafted last year or the year before, right?
The year before, I think.
You know, true story. Me and a buddy of mine a few years ago, because I'm a Texas Longhorn guy through and through. I saw him in the Drew Lock. He played against Texas in a bowl game, and I was so thoroughly unimpressed. Me and a buddy of mine, we went at it over him, and I'm like, and you know, he was talking about how, you know, maybe Drew Lock may go to the NFL. It's like, oh hell no, he needs to stay in school another year. That guy is not ready for the league. He is not good. And it's like, and that was a year, Texas that year, they went up against a lot of, you know, top quarterbacks that year that got drafted high. They went up against Baker Mayfield that year, and they held Oklahoma to under 30 points. And that Oklahoma team, nobody held them under 30, but Texas did. The quarterback who got drafted by the Jets, Sam Darnold, you know, Texas played against him, USC at the Coliseum. He didn't have a very good game. Another quarterback, even though he kind of stinks, Mason Rudolph. You know, when he was good he stinks in the NFL. He was good in college at Oklahoma State, and Texas did a great job on him. So, you know, after that, you know.
Well, I mean, what is he really going to do if he can't get on the field as much too with Big Ben there? But even then, when Ben got hurt, like he was just, you know.
He was awful.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph's awful.
Like he deserved to get hit in the head with a helmet. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, but even before that, he got his bell rung by Earl Thomas against the Ravens.
Yeah. He probably got scared back there now, you know.
Mason Rudolph is terrible. I mean, there's just no other way. But Drew Lock, you know, last year he was one of the leaders in turnovers, and that's with him missing games. He missed like 3 games. So he was dead last in completion percentage. He was near the bottom of the league in QBR. And this is with weapons. It's not like Denver didn't have capable dudes. You got Phillip Lindsay. Well, you had him. I'm not a big Melvin Gordon fan, but he could run a little bit. You had good wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Noah Fant. The offensive line actually did a very good job this past season. I think Denver's O-line, according to Pro Football Focus, ranked like 12th, which is not great, but it's good.
Right,
you know.
right.
So, and Drew Lock was still terrible. So, I mean, absolutely, Teddy Bridgewater should be the starting quarterback of this team, unless they somehow pull off a trade for Rodgers. Then obviously you go with Rodgers. But, you know, if everything is as it stands now with the Denver Bronco quarterback situation, we should just go with Bridgewater.
I hear that. I understand that completely. Like, I mean, it's like, how can you not at this point? Like, how can't you? Like, you did this for a reason. Obviously, like, Drew Lock's not going to be the guy.
No,
we got Delbert down here watching. He said, "Very nice pick." Like, yeah, such a good pick. But yeah, no, I want to talk. Let's talk Trey Lance, because the 49ers failed to get Aaron Rodgers, so they took Trey Lance and just stayed where they were. Tried to offer that 3rd-round pick for Aaron Rodgers and were shut down. I'm
Good
not going to
pick.
get into the whole Rodgers thing right now. I want to get more into the Trey Lance thing.
No,
What do you
I'll
see him
touch
doing?
on
Do
Trey
you see him
Lance.
starting first week, or do you see
I'll-
him sitting for a little bit?
I'll touch on Lance a little bit. I don't think he's going to start right away.
Okay.
I picture a Josh Allen, Nathan Peterman situation where they decide to go with Garoppolo.
And then it turns out that we bucked up on that.
And then
pick.
it turns out I see it lasting longer than the Peterman Allen situation did, because Garoppolo is a much more competent quarterback than Peterman was.
Yeah, I mean that was between the last, around those few years between what was it, Reggie Bush's last year in the NFL, and then Nathan Peterman's first. Are those two of the worst seasons by a player, the first 2 years? Nathan Peterman's 5 interceptions and a half, and then Reggie Bush, he fucking rushed for -3 yards in his last season, throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I see them getting at least 4 games into the season with Garoppolo before they pull the plug if it's going bad.
Yeah, no, I did see that.
And Trey Lance is drawing a lot of comparisons to Josh Allen. Didn't face elite competition. Has the size, has the arm, can
How
run
big
it
is
if he
he?
had to.
He didn't look that big.
He's about the same size as Allen. I think he's 6'3", 6'4".
Okay. So they got Allen was at 6'5", 6'6". So
Yeah, I think Trey Lance is 6'3", 6'4". I mean,
Okay.
they're very comparable.
Nice. Okay.
Lance looks like he, if we want to diagnose every piece of him, Lance looks like ball tucked under his arm, runs a little bit faster than Josh Allen.
Yeah, I can see
But
it. Yeah.
other than that, they're very comparable quarterbacks, similar background. Lance is coming from North Dakota State, which isn't even FBS school.
No,
So
yeah.
they're what, Division II?
I think so.
Is that what they are? Yeah.
I'm not
so
exactly sure. Maybe next time I'll have a little more information to work out here.
yeah. But
yeah, no, I can see
I
Trey Lance
think it's a
getting
nice pick. It beats the
before
hell out of taking a chance on Matt Jones, which, if I could touch on that for a second, was
walking
We'll see.
into the stage like an angry mother, about to scold their kid at the park for selling cigarettes to a minor or something.
Great. I would have to be compared with Tom Brady for the rest of my life.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's
but
what
any quarterback at this point has to. Let's be real.
Any quarterback going to New England.
True.
Yeah.
But I mean, what quarterback has that many rings that you want to look up to, I guess?
Right.
That many rings, a supermodel wife, and a bank account that don't end. I think he's all right.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
I'm glad they didn't take Mac Jones, he says. That's awesome.
I love the pick for the 49ers getting Trey Lance. North Dakota State, I mean, they're like the Alabama of their, section of college football.
They are. Carson
They
Wentz came out of there, too.
just win national championships every year, regardless of who the quarterback is. But one thing that impressed me from what I saw, I mainly watched Trey Lance do YouTube videos. But one thing that impressed me in the videos that I've seen of him is that he doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, the year he played at North Dakota State, I don't think he threw a single interception that year.
I think he had one. I could be wrong, but
yeah, it wasn't many. I know
that's
that.
the thing with him, though, is he doesn't have the body of work.
Yeah, that's the thing. So when you drive,
it is a gamble trade for sure, or a gamble pick for sure. There's just rolling the dice on that.
It's no Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, even if you got Aaron Rodgers, but say they were to get Aaron Rodgers versus picking Trey Lance, and say Trey Lance has an amazing upside, Aaron Rodgers level, probably rather have it for 16 years than 3. So hopefully the Trey Lance part pays off. But I mean,
right?
They went hard after Rodgers, and they got shut the fuck down.
Yeah. Number one, the Packers are not going to trade Rodgers to an NFC team, especially an NFC team that has smacked them around
Oh, hell yeah.
over the years. So yeah, that's not going to happen.
No.
If Rodgers is traded, they're going to do the same thing they did with Favre. They're going to trade him to a team out of the conference, because when they traded Favre, they traded him to the Jets, right?
Nope. And then what did he do? He came back to haunt them in the Vikings in another trade.
But that's after the Jets, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the Jets had no loyalty or no, long history with Brett Favre, so they could just say, "Oh, you can go wherever," But the Packers, they're not trading Rodgers to an NFC team.
No, definitely not. I mean, that right there is just common sense. And there's no possible way you're gonna want to hurt yourself. 'Cause I know I sure as fuck wouldn't. Like, I'm a Packers fan second, and it hurts that he's probably not gonna play this year.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, I liked them before him too. Favre was my man back in the day. So.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But
I got one more. I got one more draft thing I want to talk about. The fuck are the Cowboys doing?
Oh my god!
You're gonna trade the 10th overall pick to a division rival, and that division rival is gonna use that pick to draft a guy that is gonna torch your secondary for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, Devontae Smith, right? That was the Devontae Smith pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have so many Cowboys friends, like Jeremy Escamilla. He's a Cowboys fan, and then I got a couple of buddies like Tom and everybody. Holy shit, they were like probably freaking out, like sitting in their basement or by their TV, just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to me? And then, like you said, the next pick, Devontae Smith. And you're like, okay, like, oh, this hurts now. Like, why am I doing this to myself again?
Because they them boys, man. They.
Oh god. Like,
he is gonna torch that secondary.
Delbert says it was a dumb move by the Cowboys. Yeah, no, I think we all agree there. I think we all agree on that one.
What were they doing? What were they thinking?
That's
like,
the number 2 thing.
Who let Jerry Jones answer the phone? That's what
You know what, man? Bottom line, Jerry Jones he's this era's Al Davis. Let's face it, he's out of touch, just like Al Davis was. They were both, maverick owners, and it worked for a while early in their tenures, but now all that maverick shit just doesn't work anymore. And
no,
yeah,
you got to actually pay attention to what's going on at this point. Like, yo, Dennis, you're popular over there, bud.
Oh yeah, I got a whole lot going on right here.
But yeah, no, I fully agree on the whole Al Davis comparison. Like,
yeah,
you really can't just go in. Like, he's not going in as informed as the rest of his staff. He's not, doing all the work. He's not being as diligent with picks and, like, scouting them or anything. He's literally just like, oh, that's a big boy. Let's go ahead and take him. We'll make a star out of him one day. Like, that's basically what he's doing.
He's still trying to draft like it's the glory days.
It's the 90s. He's trying to draft like the 90s.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work.
No, and that goes for the Raiders too. Like, what were they doing reaching with that pick, that number 17?
If any other head coach in the NFL had John Gruden's record with the Raiders since he went back to the Raiders with this 10-year, $100 million contract, he'd be gone by this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Dennis, you're going to be all right with that pick, though, right?
He has reached, ever since he got back there, and he has reached with all these draft picks. Clinton Farrell, he really reached with him. He reached with the guy they drafted, Arnott out of Ohio State. They reached with him. And they reached with this guy from Alabama, Leatherwood from Alabama. They reached with him
Ruggs.
too.
Henry Ruggs.
the Raiders, they reached with Henry Ruggs,
Oh, absolutely.
John Gruden. The problem with John Gruden and the Raiders is too often they either drafted dudes who were good football players but had major character issues, or in recent years they drafted guys who were good character guys but not necessarily good football players.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they can't seem to find that happy medium between dudes who are good football players and good character guys. It's either one extreme towards one or one extreme towards the other.
Yeah. I completely agree.
The Raiders and the Cowboys, we could throw them back into this category.
Absolutely.
Their past few drafts have reminded me of all of the Bills drafts before Bean and McDermott. Before McDermott, really, because Bean wasn't there when the draft happened after McDermott was hired.
Right,
but all
that was still Whaley.
Before that, it just seemed like they were on the clock and they just threw in the towel and were like, fuck it, we'll take the best player available if he fits our system or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it seems like the Cowboys and the Raiders are both doing.
The Raiders are just
the Raiders.
Yeah, that's another one. The Raiders are just gonna Raider. Like, you can't do anything about it.
And I feel bad. I like Darren Waller. He's a good tight end.
Waller is underrated.
He's got a good story too. He's got a really good story.
Yeah,
Ruggs is a bad player. Ruggs isn't a bad player at all.
Oh no.
He just doesn't fit on what the Raiders do on offense.
No. I think one of their biggest mistakes was getting rid of Amari Cooper when they did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is the best thing if I were actually the Cowboys and that pick they traded to the Eagles, I would have used that pick on an offensive lineman personally.
Yeah.
So Dak Prescott doesn't have to run around and possibly break his other leg.
Yeah, exactly. The whole Burrow situation all over again.
Yeah, we do, just insane.
Full circle, Bengals to Cowboys.
Yeah.
Fucking themselves from the beginning.
But Dak still got paid, though, so I guess it really don't matter that much.
Yeah. Like, let's get Burrow an extension right now. Oh, you broke your leg? Here's some money. Here you
go. Yeah. But
is there
I covered everything I wanted to talk about in the draft. Is there anything you guys want to touch on?
Pretty much what I was about to ask.
I'm good.
I want to make one more comment about the draft before we move on.
Have at it.
The number 4 pick by the Atlanta Falcons. I know Andrew talked about them earlier. Getting Kyle Pitts. Like I said, I love the guy. I thought he was the best player in the draft. So, and I understand Matt Ryan is up there. He's 35, 36 years old?
36, yep.
36. But you see these guys now, you see these quarterbacks now are playing into their late 30s and 40s. So, and he plays indoors. So it's possible that Matt Ryan could still be effective, for another, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't think his time. But how long did Rodgers sit behind Brett Favre? Like, what was it, 3-4 years?
3 years. Started before.
3 years. So I honestly don't think that Matt Ryan's going to retire as a Falcon. So my whole thing was if they would have drafted Justin Fields sits behind him for the 2-3 years, because I think Fields could be a very good quarterback. That was a good pick by the Bears.
Yes.
He sits behind Matt Ryan, but hypothetically he sits behind Matt Ryan for 2 or 3 years. If Matt Ryan still wants to play, there's plenty of teams that would want to sign him, I think. He's a former MVP. He's a former MVP. He owns the Falcons passing record book.
Oh, he would have to at this point. Yeah, I mean,
he does.
Really
he owns
that
it.
Wasn't like a pick for a while,
No, he owns that. But like I said, it is what it is. New coaching staff, new GM. Probably felt a little bit like McDermott and Bean their first year here. Like, let's not use our first draft and just jump on a guy. So Maybe next year, maybe the year after. But it is time for the Falcons to start thinking about life after Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Fully agree. Well,
What's next?
I thought you guys like cut out there because it was like all
Oh,
quiet.
no. Waiting on you, boss.
I'm sorry. Is there anything else specifically you guys got on the draft or any specific team that you're just like, yo, fuck this? Or is that just basically the Cowboys and the Raiders?
It's basically the Cowboys and the Raiders.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip between the Bengals and the Cowboys as to who made the stupidest move in the first round, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that one. So yeah, let's get right into Tebow. What is he doing, and why didn't he do it 10 years ago?
Oh my God!
I love when you say that. Let's hear it.
Let me start this.
I'll let that go first. Yeah,
because Tebow was drafted by my team, so I feel I'm pretty qualified to talk about.
I agree.
Timothy Richard Tebow. I mean, the guy is a. It's hard for me to talk about Tebow without laughing because he just feels like a parody to me, and it just feels like a complete joke. He got drafted by Denver. He played the last few games of his rookie year. I mean, he had one nice game there at the end of that year against the Houston Texans, I believe. And then the following year, we have Kyle Orton as our starting quarterback. Completely stinks the joint out. And then we start 1-4. And then
it's Tebow time.
And then we insert Tebow in there in a game against the Miami Dolphins. And for about the first 52 minutes of that game, literally some of the worst QB play you will ever see by anybody. And then he just, I'm serious. I think he was like 10 for he was like 10 for like 24 for like 60 yards or some like.
Oh, it was bad.
I mean, it was horrible. I was watching that game. It was a morning game too. I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Like, why don't I wake up for this?
God, this guy is completely in over his head. But then they score a couple touchdowns to tie it up. They win in overtime on like a 55-yard field goal by Matt Prater.
And it was only because Tebow prayed about it.
Well, he should have done a heck of a whole lot more praying than that. He needs to be good. And then Denver went on a little run. They won a bunch of close games. They even had a win against the Kansas City Chiefs in which he only completed 2 passes. God damn. I don't know how you win a football game completing, and you play the whole game. It's not like he got injured or anything. It wasn't like the first couple of drives. That was 60 minutes of football.
That's got to be like a legendary stat.
I mean,
oh my God.
I doubt
he did win him a playoff game, though. He did win him a playoff game.
He did, and here's the thing about that playoff game. Even though they won it, and we won that game on the first play of overtime because the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dick LeBeau, their defensive coordinator, had no respect for him as a thrower. So they figured we're going to line up damn near all 11 guys close to the line of scrimmage. Tebow goes in. Demaryius Thomas makes a nice little move. Tebow throws by his standards, a good ball. And then at that point, Demaryius Thomas, he just outruns everybody the next, 70 yards to the end zone. And we win the game. But then we go up to the Bills' chief rival, New England, where we got smacked up like nobody's business. We lost like 100-10. And then that was it with Tebow. But this whole Tebow.
Well, wasn't Tebow still on the roster when they signed Peyton Manning?
He was, but then he ended up getting traded.
I mean, everybody knew he was gone.
Oh yeah.
Once Peyton got signed.
He was.
Because after that he went to the Jets.
Yes.
Wow,
And-
yeah, that's right. We all laughed
and,
at him.
and sat his ass on the bench for the first couple games, and then all of a sudden, here comes Tebow coming out, going 6 of 19 for 37 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, right. Like he's like, I'm not comparing him at all. Let's disclaimer. Don't get mad at me here. I am not comparing him to Josh Allen, but I guess I kind of am. Josh Allen's first year, he's having problems with the long ball, having problems with the accuracy. He'll have like a game of 120 yards, throwing it 40 times, but he's got 3 rushing touchdowns and like 89 yards rushing. It's like, yeah, but can you throw it?
Even when Josh Allen, but here's the difference though. Even when Josh Allen wasn't doing a great job of completing passes, he still completed them at a much higher rate than Tebow.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I wasn't comparing him. But
Tebow wasn't even completing 50%, which of his pass. That's like bad in 1985. It's really bad.
In the 2000s.
In the 2010s. Yeah, that's really horrible. I mean, 46% completion. Josh Allen at his worst was still completing 55, 56% of his passes.
I think it was 53 was like one of the worst for him.
And
so yeah,
significantly better.
Well,
it really is.
Here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to for me. We could go back and we could talk about all the terrible things Tim Tebow has done as a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He tried out as a tight end. There's no denying that this guy is a phenomenal fucking athlete.
Well, to be real though, it's been a few years. That's why I was saying
he went off
and
played baseball and was praying over people having seizures and then going yard when he got to the plate. So, I mean, the guy's built like a tank.
Yeah,
he is. He really is.
He can move. He can move. I mean, even when going back to when he was playing quarterback in Denver, when he was coming down on defensive backs, running full steam ahead, they were backing down from him. They would back up. They would back up and go low because he was not afraid to run somebody over if he had to. And he's got the relationship with Urban Meyer. He tried out as a tight end. I could see it happening. I could see the Jacksonville Jaguars signing Tim Tebow as a tight end. Who do they even have at tight end?
Well, let's be real. It's like Jacksonville again. They'd be the only one to do it.
We were saying about Jacksonville earlier could be wiped off the board.
Let's be honest though. Let's just keep it completely 100 here. He's only getting a shot because of the head
Urban
coach.
Absolutely.
My thing is, had Tebow decided, 10 years ago to be a tight end or a fullback, he probably would have still been in the NFL.
That's what I was saying.
He was just so determined to be a quarterback, and it's like, dude, that's not what you should be doing.
Yeah, he was one of those. He had too much pride. He had too much. I'm not going to say too much faith, but he had too much pride. He did not want to. It's like Terrell Pryor moved to wide receiver after a couple of years.
It was a good move for him.
Great. Yeah, it was. Yeah, when he went to the Browns, he switched to wide receiver, and
he had a couple.
He had a 1,000-yard season that year, didn't he? His first year as a receiver.
If he didn't, he was close. He had a good year.
Yeah, it was fucking great. Like, this is probably something you should have thought about.
And look at all the guys. I mean, there's guys littered throughout the league that made the move to another position. Quarterbacks that made the move to another team. Julian Edelman, who we're going to get into in a minute. Perfect example. Quarterback at Kent State, drafted by the Patriots in the 6th round. They move him to wide receiver. He had an all-right career at wide receiver.
Yeah, I'd say.
And who knows if it's over? Wink.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good segue. no NFL team is talking about Tebow right now, so I think we're done too.
Yeah,
With that said,
that was just something I wanted to talk about. Was
yeah,
Tebow.
no, it makes perfect sense.
Anytime there's Tebow news, you got to talk about it.
Oh
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you were saying, Edelman, conspiracy theory, right? He's gonna pull a Gronk. He's gonna retire. He's gonna end up in Tampa. He's gonna get another Super Bowl. Tom Brady's gonna sell his soul to God or whatever at this point, if he already hasn't.
Yeah.
You know.
Trigger the X-Files music because
I'll work on that one. Don't worry. But yeah, there's not really much to say. This is either 100% real or
100% fake.
Yeah, there's no drama about this one. There's no bullshit about this one. It's you're probably gonna retire and just not retire.
Hanging out.
Yeah. That's how I see it. I could easily see him just going.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I really don't see it being true.
Yeah.
Just based on the fact of that is a loaded wide receiver room down there in Tampa, for one. And two, Scotty Miller is basically Julian Edelman 8 years ago.
Yeah.
To 8 to 10. Yeah. So I don't see it happening, but you never fucking know.
You really don't. Like I said, we got Tebow trying to come back, so you really never know.
Yeah,
right.
But Scotty Miller is a much better deep threat than Julian Edelman, though. That's actually when he comes into the game, that's his job, is to go deep.
Yeah.
And he's much better at that than Julian Edelman ever was. So
but Scotty Miller could do all the same things Edelman did underneath, run them 5-yard zig routes, and not to get angry at the Patriots, but all them stupid pick plays they used to ran that should have been pass interference.
Oh, yeah.
For fucking 12 years.
So one thing I just wanted to go back, because we were talking about how bad Tim Tebow was when he was a quarterback. I just want to hit this real quick. I looked up his career stats because I was curious, right? And 35 games played, 47.9 completion percentage, 2,400 yards, and 17 TDs.
Whoa.
What? That hurts. That hurts. I couldn't resist. I had to look it up. I'm like, was he really under 50%? 47.9. Well, I'll give him 48. All right.
48. That's still horrible.
Oh my god.
That's like Cam Newton's numbers this past year.
Oh god.
Cam Newton this past season set the league back like fucking 25 years.
That's why everybody's drafting running backs in O-line. Okay, I got it. Oh, that is terrible. I'm sorry. Where were we on Edelman? Right? He's not.
I think we're all in agreement. It's either going to happen or it's not.
He's probably not. I don't think. He's like you said. Scotty
probably not. Yeah. See, because when Gronk retired, he just chose to retire and then chose to come back. Who knows?
He got one hint of WrestleMania not being in front of crowds, and he was like, I'm going to go play football.
But Edelman allegedly was failing physicals and stuff like that. So who knows? I mean, Edelman has had a concussion history in the league, too.
The little guy going over the middle like that, I mean, that's going to happen.
He's got concussion history. He's got his history with knee injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to tell. It's either going to happen or it's not. I don't think it will, but you never know.
I really don't think it will. But that's something that's always fun.
I'm not going to rule it out. I won't be surprised.
So, fun fact, Cam Newton still had an 82.9% passer rating last year. 8 TDs, 10 interceptions, 2,657 yards.
8 TDs.
Yeah, 8
Burrow's
TDs, but he had
terrible.
double-digit interceptions, so he's still completing passes, I guess.
But here's the thing, though, man. I mean, what choice did they have? It's either Cam Newton or Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer. I mean,
And ain't nobody want Brian Hoyer. Just look at the Texans. Like, what'd they do to him?
Texans.
Oh, boy. The
They
Texans.
ruined that. The Texans ruined Brian Hoyer's career.
Yeah. And about
'Cause
to
he
do the
could
same to
show-
Deshaun Watson, so.
Yeah, that's a different story for a different day. That guy.
No, we're talking about conspiracy theories. That's a conspiracy theory right there. The fucking owner set this whole thing up.
We can get it.
I mean, the lawyer buddy of all the girls is one of his friends. I mean, it's
Right.
who knows. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it really happened, but it
That's a
could have.
different. Yeah, I feel like that's a whole different story for a totally different day.
That
That's
should
for
be
a
something
light.
that we just put out a video on instead of a live
Yeah,
video.
that's for a light news week.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, if it was like 2 weeks ago, that's for a heavy news week to everybody.
Yeah.
It's kind of calmed down a lot though, because some of them are getting
Yeah.
discredited, blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
no, I don't see that. I don't know. That's just so much to pack in, like one type of story like that. You know, there's so much to unravel in that story that like
oh yeah.
you don't even know where to
Yeah.
start.
No,
I watched
there's
so
just
many videos on it. My mind is still like, what is happening?
so many layers. We could dedicate an entire fucking night just to talking about the fuckery that is
You
the
could.
Texans.
You really could.
Man,
You really could.
seriously, guys, that would have to be a whole show. You know,
Mhm.
It
the
has
whole
to.
Deshaun Watson
There's
saga.
no way it couldn't be.
Yeah, that had to be a whole show.
So I think what we should do is like once it gets closer to seeing what's going on court wise and whatever, like we should definitely just make that a thing. Like this is gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
relevant again in a couple weeks here in a few months, you know.
Yeah.
And when it is,
Right.
we can just break that whole situation down. And again, we'd have to do a whole show on that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of those that deserves major attention.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready to get to the main event.
The main
I'm
event.
ready, I'm ready to talk about Aaron Rodgers right now.
Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers,
buddy.
man.
All right.
Damn.
Aaron Rodgers. As a secondary Packers fan, I'll start here. It hurts. It really does because yes, he feels like he's devalued because, like, in their opinion, you know, they're a new front office for the most part, and they know that it's time to start thinking. You know, start thinking. That was the whole point. Start. You know, they
Similar
weren't
to
trying to replace him with Jordan Love right away.
Similar
Yes,
to my feelings
eventually.
about Matt Ryan.
What was that?
Similar to my feelings about Matt Ryan.
Yes, it is time to start thinking. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is another tier above Matt Ryan.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the man has put up like ridiculous numbers, and I was obviously not good enough. He's only got the one ring. You know, like you have 45 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and the last 30 of them, you get 2 rings. Something isn't working, you know. So like they finally got rid of coaches and everything. They finally got rid of the front office and changed it around. And then they're starting to piss off Aaron Rodgers by. Are they really pissing him off though, or is he just being a diva about it, as you said earlier? And I love him as a quarterback, but as I said earlier too, his personality, he's kind of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't talk to his family and shit like that. He doesn't, like, as a person, he is an asshole. Like, let's be real. Like, Megan Olivia, when they were together, like, I guess he treated her like shit. You know? So that could probably just be his attitude coming into play with the front office and, Brian Gutekunst and whatnot. I don't think that they're going to fire the GM over him. I think maybe he could be traded, but I think it'll be after June. You know, when his cap is lowered, his the cap hit right now is like 37 or something. It goes down to like 23 after June 1st. Yeah. So I'm thinking June 2nd they're gonna be picking up the phone and like That's a real possibility. Like you said, out of conference, Patriots even, that would suck even more for me because I love the guy as a football player, but now he's arch rival at this point. I mean, it's all up in the air. He is being a diva. Let's be real. He is being a bitch.
Well, Aaron Rodgers has always been a bit of a diva. I mean, going back
even when he was even on draft night, just seeing him sulk in the green room when Alex Smith got picked first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is something that's been kind of known about Rodgers for a while. For me, I think he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks ever. So, but I saw a thing about how they're great quarterbacks, and they've had, a few, Bart Starr to Brett Favre to now Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
None of them, all of them played 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
None of them made it to a 17th year as quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, or at least employed by the Green Bay Packers.
And it doesn't look likely this year either.
So, and like you said, June 1st, that cap hit will be a lot less. So I could see around that time, June 3rd, June 4th, around that time where he gets traded to an AFC team because I can't see them trading him within the conference, and then damn sure not trading him within the division because they don't want to deal with him twice a year.
Well, you already know what's going to happen. He's going to work his ass off and just do better like he did last year because he was all mad about Jordan Love. And what did he do? He put up an MVP year. And what's he going to do against them? He'll tear them up. He knows their weaknesses. He knows how bad their corners are right now, and he'll just destroy them.
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what's going to happen. So you're absolutely 100% correct. I agree with you. He's going out of the division, out of the conference. You don't want to see him in the playoffs either. If you absolutely have to, you'll get stuck with him at the Super Bowl. One game compared to 2, 3, 4 is, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, though.
When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, more than anybody, the opinion I want to hear on this is Brett Favre. Sitting in his recliner.
Let's be real, he probably
in his Wranglers. Sitting in his recliner with his Wranglers on. Watching all this happen, just being like, how's it fucking feel, Aaron?
Yeah.
How's it feel to devote your entire career to a franchise and have them turn around and just draft your replacement and expect you to be okay with it?
I mean, that far into your career, though.
Right.
You kind of expect it.
But I feel like, because you hear the stories all the time about how Favre and Rodgers were butting heads and not getting along and everything else. Because they have very similar personalities.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why they didn't get along. They're like, wow, you're too much like me. I don't want to like you.
Exactly. The other thing is, too, and this, I can understand Aaron Rodgers' frustration with them not doing more to surround him with talent.
Mm-hmm.
You go back.
Agree with that.
I hate to quote this guy, but I was watching him. Everybody knows I just can't stand Nick Wright. Yeah, I can't stand him. But he brought up a good point, and this, every once in a while, Nick Wright does let a nugget of truth slip when he's not gobbling on Patrick Mahomes.
Right. Hey, we got a comment right here. It says, fellas, y'all are killing it. Really enjoying the show. Delbert, we appreciate you too, brother. Don't forget, you go ahead and share it. You can find us, other people to join up with us too. Definitely appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
Back to you, Andrew.
Thanks, brother. But I understand his frustration with them not surrounding him with talent, but Nick Wright brought it up, and this is the craziest thing I ever heard. The last 10 first-round picks for the Green Bay Packers, only one of them has been an offensive player, and it was Jordan Love.
Yeah, that's terrible. And that is fucking terrible. And you wonder why they're having so many problems.
one of those years they had 2 first-round picks. They took a linebacker and a defensive back, I believe.
Yeah.
Was that the year they got King or Alexander? Whichever. No,
I think it was Alexander. I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure it was a linebacker and a defensive back.
I mean, at that point, our defense was terrible. Not our defense, but yeah, at that point their defense was bottom of the league. So I can see why they did that. But at the same point, you got to get your main man some weapons.
Yeah. And they've tried bringing in guys. They brought in what's his name? He used to play down there in New Orleans for the Saints, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
They signed him.
Yeah, they brought him in after the Seahawks. Yeah,
he was past his prime, and he was past his prime. They let Randall Cobb walk, who was a decent slot receiver. I feel like if Randall Cobb was still on the team this past year, I feel like they could have got past the Buccaneers for sure to get to the Super Bowl. But he just didn't have the weapons. The Buccaneers going into that game knew that if they could take Devontae Adams out of the game, that was it. Because then they could pressure Rodgers, and he would have nowhere else to go with the ball.
I mean, the only other place they had to go was a guy who's so fast, but he's not the greatest route runner right now, Valdez-Scantling. Like, when he came back from injury, he was killing it. He was their home run hitter. He could just burn your defense.
But he can't run routes.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not hitting him over the middle. You're only hitting him on those go routes or the post routes there.
Or a deep post, or a corner post route where he makes a double move, and
that's all you're going to get out of him. Maybe
towards the pylon,
hopefully this year it's different, but it'll probably be Jordan Love throwing him the ball, and ain't going to get there anyway.
It is such a tricky. They did draft a receiver, but in like the 6th round.
Yeah. I mean, they drafted like an offensive lineman and shit too, I think. But I mean, these aren't the moves that are gonna keep him happy. Like, they obviously don't care about that, and they want to go for the future, which is understandable. But I mean, you are literally in a win now scenario because you don't have that great team that you want, and you still went how far you went in the playoffs. Like you've done this year after year after year, and you couldn't give them a little more offensive juice to just like finally blow by people, so they can't catch up or they can't keep it close.
Another crazy stat I heard that got brought up. Aaron Rodgers had a top 5 defense once in his career. Yeah. And it was the year they won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Tom Brady has had how many top 5 defenses?
He had, 11 or 12, he said?
How many Super Bowls has he won?
Exactly.
When he was with New England having top 5 defense. I believe the Buccaneers
defense doesn't win championships anymore. Yeah.
Right.
Bullshit. It still does. It's just not as prominent.
Having a good defense does not take away from how good your quarterback is.
Exactly. I mean, especially if you have a Hall of Famer or a future Hall of Famer.
But it elevates a situation.
Yeah.
It makes it that much easier.
Right.
And you mentioned Brett Favre. Didn't the Packers trade up so that they could draft Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, he fell to 25.
Yeah. He fell.
He fell to them.
Up to 20. Or he just.
No, they were at 25, and he just fell.
Yeah.
Well,
because by the time they got to 16, people were like, "Holy shit, Aaron Rodgers is still on the board."
Yeah. Here's the thing: in the Packers, they actually traded up to draft Jordan Love. So I thought when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, maybe they had traded up to draft.
No.
They traded up
too many.
Draft Jordan Love.
That'd be too many coincidences at that point. We're back to conspiracy theory again. The Packers are a conspiracy in their own.
I don't know. It just seems like their GM's just like.
I mean,
like Dennis said with John Gruden or Al Davis and Jerry Jones, it just seems like their GM's just making maverick moves and they're just shooting from the hip, doing whatever he wants. Just
it's the more doing whatever he wants thing. Yeah, that's definitely a thing right now.
Oh yeah, but he thinks that it's worked. I mean, to an extent. I mean, the last 2 years they have gone 13-3 these last 2 years, and they've been to the NFC Championship game these last couple of years.
Which is insane because the defense again, like I said, is not the best over there. So for that to happen, who you're putting those games on, like, whose shoulders you're putting those games on. And you know that you're pissing him off right now.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is Aaron Rodgers in NFC title games, ironically, has not been great. You know, even the one NFC title game they won against Chicago, I think in that game he had like no touchdown passes and 2 picks.
Yeah.
So he struggled in that game. He struggled in a lot of these, all of these NFC title games. I mean, even though statistically
they've gotten smoked in almost every NFC title game that they've played in with him.
Yeah,
Atlanta
the Bucs this year, 49ers.
The 49ers smoked them. Tampa Bay didn't smoke them, but
they shut them down though. Like, it wasn't like they bad, but they shut them down.
They did Green Bay win the Seattle game though. The Seattle one though.
Yeah, they gave that one away.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been 100% garbage, but I mean,
and he wasn't good in that game either. And Russell Wilson was horrible in that game. I think Wilson had like 5 picks in that game.
Yeah, and you can't even blame the Packers defense for the one against Atlanta that led to 28-3 because Atlanta's off. That was Matt Ryan's MVP year. I mean, that offense that year was just unstoppable.
It was. Yeah, Delbert saying that he was 1-4, he believes, in NFC Championship games.
Yeah,
I fully believe it. Yeah, I fully believe it.
He's lost it. Let's see. The Chicago Bears won. They won that. Seattle lost to them.
Yeah.
That should have been a win. They got smoked by Atlanta.
And then the 49ers.
And then they lost to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So he won his first one and lost the rest of them? Is that how it went? Jesus.
Yeah. But look at the defense he had that year.
You're not wrong.
For the one they won. I believe they had Julius Peppers coming off the edge. They had Clay Matthews.
Yep.
Micah Hyde was on that team, I believe.
Yeah, that was right before he came over here. Yep.
Who else? I mean, that defense was just loaded front to back.
Who was it?
Yep.
I didn't know
Charles Woodson.
Oh, yeah.
I pissed off a lot of Raider fans not that long ago when Charles Woodson got elected to the Hall of Fame, and I posted congrats to Packers legend Charles Woodson. and I'm a Denver Broncos fan, so I deal with a lot of Raiders fans on my TL. Go, don't you mean Raiders? Raiders legend, like, nah, if you go check his numbers were actually better with the Packers. Therefore, Packers legend Charles Woodson. He had more interceptions with the Packers. The defensive player of the year he won that in Green Bay. The Super Bowl, obviously the Raiders haven't won a Super Bowl in ages. He won that with the Packers. I mean, if you just look at the stats, all the stats show that he was better in Green Bay. But back to Rodgers though. That one year where he had a top 5 defense. A lot of years was the year they won, and a lot of years they've been at or close to the bottom of the league in terms of defense points allowed per game and stuff like that. I don't think they've done enough. I think it's a combination of Rodgers being a diva, but them also not doing enough to supplement him with enough talent so that they could go and get back to the Super Bowl. And, they're still going to be a really good team just because as long as Rodgers is healthy, they're going to win a lot of games. But they need to surround him with a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I don't think
Delbert says that you were wrong for that petty Broncos fan, Dennis.
It's the truth, though. All you gotta do. There's this little thing called Google. Go on Google.
What's that?
Check Charles Woodson stats. It'll show you all his interceptions and all that stuff. He had like 65% of his interceptions with the Packers. The Packers. Only thing that you can say about the Raiders is that he played there for more years. But in terms of his level of productivity, it clearly it clearly will show you that he was clearly more productive. And we're talking about Charles Woodson here with the Green Bay Packers. Therefore, Packers legend Charles Woodson.
And I'll take that too. I like that. That has a better ring to
Packers legend.
it. Rodgers,
Nobody
though,
wants to hear the
does he
word
stay?
Raiders come before legend.
I mean, I don't even know a Raiders legend anymore. Jamarcus Russell, he was one, right?
Yeah, but not for the right reason.
He's a legend for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I'll call
Rodgers,
Marshawn
though.
Lynch. I'll call Marshawn Lynch a Raiders legend just because he's from Oakland, which they're not. The Raiders aren't in Oakland anymore.
Yeah.
But Lynch is from Oakland. He played there for what, a year, 2 years. And Marshawn Lynch is just one of my favorite guys to ever play the games.
Absolutely.
We need to dedicate a whole show to him.
I'm gonna dedicate like 15 minutes to like finding out the science behind how he got all the damn Skittles in the car the one time, man. Just opens the door and here goes all the Skittles. Like did you pour them in through the sunroof? Did you like put them in and slam the door real quick? Like we gotta get some science behind that shit.
I'm sure they figured out a way to make
Marshawn
that
Lynch
happen.
is another.
They
Marshawn
did
Lynch
that.
is another discussion for another day.
Yeah, true. You're true.
He's a national treasure in my
Yes,
opinion.
he is.
Oh yeah, he's up there with Fitzpatrick. Like,
But yeah, going back to Rodgers, man. Like I said, I see both sides of it. I understand the Packers wanting to move on. I understand Rodgers
they are refusing
not being happy,
to trade him.
and yeah, he feels betrayed, but at the same time, he's like, you've never helped me. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, help me, help you. It's a help me, help you situation.
Like, I mean, like, you can't have every year having Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb on the same team, you know? Like, yeah, he's probably missing those days. I would too, to be honest.
But like another analyst I saw say something. I think it was Colin Coward said that Aaron Rodgers was like, "Oh yeah, I like Jordy Nelson. Let's keep him." And they were like, "No."
There you go, Raiders. There you go, Raiders.
And same thing with Randall Cobb. Oh, he's nice. I could dump it to him underneath. No. Like I don't get it, man. I don't know. I really don't know how to wrap my head around it. I understand their side. I understand his side. He's probably not going to play for him next year, and that's what it comes down to. But whether it's a trade, if he retires, whatever.
Yeah,
man,
if he wants to pull a Gronk too, that's the way to go now.
I mean, he retires right now. He's still a Hall of Famer if he retires right now.
Man.
Oh yeah.
He can hang it up at any moment.
But he don't want to. He ain't got no family left. He ain't got no family left, so he's got to get his stacks up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
He can hang it up. Yeah, whenever he hangs it up, whether it's now or 5 years from now, he's going to the Hall of Fame no matter what.
Oh yeah.
So
easily.
I mean, you take a look at his resume. I mean, I think he's number 1 or number 2 all time in touchdowns to interception ratio.
Yeah.
He's got those. Yeah, he's number 1 or number 2 of those weird little stats that nobody really looks at.
Nobody really looks at those stats, but they mean more than they sound like. Maybe you know what I mean? Like it seems like a minuscule stat, but that is huge. Like look at Brett Favre before him.
Yeah, he doesn't look. Yeah, he's got the sexy stats. Or the not sexy stats. The sexy stats are the touchdowns, the yards, the completion.
Yeah, the Brady's and the Breeze right now. Yeah.
Brady and Breeze and Manning. Yeah. I mean, so.
And also, he's 3 MVPs. There's only like the number of 3-time MVPs in the history of the league of the NFL. You could pretty much count those guys on one hand. It's Manning has 5. Brady has 3. Jim Brown has 3. And I think Aaron Rodgers has 3. Yeah, like I said, you pretty much count Brett Favre won 3 too. So, like I said, the list of 3-time NFL MVPs is a very small one, and he's on that list. So
you have to give him the jacket at that point.
Oh yeah.
It's like Drew Brees. It's like they said Drew Brees is officially retired. Like today's the day that we count down 5 years till we give him his jacket. Like it's happening.
Yeah. They might as well start
and
fitting
I would
them.
take Rodgers over Brees personally. I would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
talent-wise,
as great as Brees was never at no point in his career as great as he was, and it's unfortunate for him that he was overshadowed by Brady and Manning basically the majority of his career, and then Rodgers came along. So unfortunately, and now Mahomes. So Brees was overshadowed pretty much his entire career. So by guys who were better than him. So but
it wasn't for no reason.
But here's the thing though, if Aaron Rodgers gets traded, and I don't know if you guys believe he will. I believe he will get traded.
I do.
He's not the first. He's definitely not the first, nor will he be the last all-time great quarterback that didn't stay with one team.
Yeah, Brady did it last year.
Manning, Brady.
Brady, Favre, Johnny Unitas. Is like it's not uncommon for all-time great quarterbacks to stay with one. Hell, Drew Brees started his career with the Chargers. Steve Young actually.
Yeah, but he wasn't really. He wasn't Drew Brees at that point in his career.
No, he was he wasn't. But he wouldn't be the first all-time great quarterback that didn't, stay their whole career with one team. I don't even think Patrick Mahomes is going to stay his whole career with the Chiefs.
He probably won't, unless he is like unbelievably
Go ahead.
I would say unless he's like unbelievably like ridiculous, like Tom Brady going every year. Like even then, just like Tom Brady, it can still happen no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. You can win 7 rings with a company, and Jared Stidham's our man.
You want my opinion on Mahomes? Mahomes ain't gonna play that 10-year contract.
No, I think I think there's an injury waiting to happen.
It might have already happened.
That's what I'm saying. That could be the start, and then there's like one more down the road is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Talk about. They wanted to keep calling it a concussion. That wasn't a concussion. He got choked out, for one. And the way his head was getting cranked on could be a serious. There might be an underlying neck injury that's now festering because it may not have caused an injury when it happened, but now there could be something in there that's just festering. He takes a bad hit or gets twisted up getting tackled like that again. Could be a serious problem, and neck injuries aren't anything.
Nothing to joke about. Yeah, you don't.
Nothing to fucking play with because look what they did to Peyton Manning.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, maybe he'll get another Super Bowl afterwards. So who knows?
But I just wanted to say that about Mahomes. I don't see him playing that entire contract. That was ridiculous. Props for the Chiefs. Good on him. Good on Mahomes for playing well enough to get a $500 million contract. But dumb on the Chiefs to give it to him because that's just risky with his style of play, the way he likes to run around and do things. You don't give that style player that kind of money, I don't think.
Yeah, and you're giving him that 10-year contract.
You give that kind of money to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, a guy that's gonna be safe with his body as much as he can, and not risk his body the way Mahomes does.
Right.
Oh yeah, Mahomes is. That's why they compare Mahomes and Allen so much. Allen has the same problem. Like when we pay him, is he gonna get a 10-year deal, or is he gonna get the 5-year deal to play it safe in case of injury?
I think Josh Allen seems to be like the type of kid that would take like the 6-7 year deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he'll also take it. I'm not saying in the lower end, but he's not going to take the $500 million deal.
He'd
He'll take like the
the discount.
$300 million.
Yeah, he
like
would
you're still
definitely
making $300 million. Like
Yeah.
that's what I don't understand.
Al would take the discount though
Yeah.
to stay in Buffalo, I think.
Yeah, no, he's a good old boy. That's what I keep calling. Like he's one of those. He's loyal. He's gonna stick with you. He feels for you.
Yeah.
Like he's already a part of our community. He really is. Like,
Yeah.
you
And
ain't
going
gonna
back-
say that about Drew Lock. No offense.
No.
You ain't gonna say like it's the same kind of deal.
Lord willing, Drew Lock is gone. Drew Lock don't need to be a part of any community that I'm associated with. So,
right.
Yeah,
I feel that.
He will not be a fixture in the Denver community. That is
and
sure.
I'm hoping that we don't sign another failed QB as a backup. Like I don't want Trubisky and Drew Lock backing up Josh Allen at all whatsoever.
Why do people shit on? You know what? And look, I've clowned on Mitch Trubisky too, but I mean, statistically, he's not bad. You look at his record; he has a winning record. He certainly was better than Nick Foles was. I mean,
but
Nick Foles has never been good outside of Philadelphia. He's been
outside of 3 games in Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, no, didn't like 7-8 years ago he have a year where he had like 25, 26 touchdowns and a couple of picks, but that was in Philly though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wasn't that like 13? 13 was his best year.
Never 2013. Yeah. I'm looking 27 touchdowns, 2 picks. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
In Philadelphia. He's never been. He's been trash everywhere outside of Philadelphia.
Agreed.
But he went. I mean, hell, he went to Jacksonville and he was benched for Gardner Minshew. Yeah, man. Trubisky.
Didn't he get hurt? That's why Minshew came in.
Here's my thing. I like
part of it.
Yeah, Trubisky. I don't know if Foles went in for Trubisky because Trubisky got hurt or Trubisky. Well, I think Trubisky was just ineffective. But then Nick Foles was even more ineffective. So so they brought back in Trubisky, and Trubisky had some decent games there. The Bears played a lot of, bad teams at the end, which is why they got to the playoffs. But that playoff game against the Saints, it kind of reminded you, oh, man, this guy is like, wow, the Bears passed up on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes for this guy.
Well, they didn't fuck up the Fields pick, so.
Right.
We'll see.
Here's the thing, I actually like him as a backup quarterback, a spot guy that could go in there for a few games. He's not starting for you guys, but in a backup role, if something unfortunate does happen to a Josh Allen and he has to be out 3-4 games, Trubisky
similar style
work in that.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. See, yeah, I'm like I said, I'm a Packers fan too, so I'm a shit on him just because. But once I looked into it after the trade happened, once I looked into it more, I'm like, you know what? Okay, all right. Because like you said, he's got some mobility. He's got an arm. He can play the same type of style. He may not be as good as Josh Allen because Josh Allen is golden boy, and we already know it. And I mean, Lord willing, nothing happens to him. But if it does, Matt Barkley ain't it. So, and just because he comes in and he hands off the ball 13 times and scores an extra 20 points or some shit in relief in a 56-point game in Miami, or when they played the Jets and it was like 41 something.
Yeah.
Like you got to do a little more than that just in case he gets hurt, So I mean, having somebody with the same style, maybe similar size ish, isn't a bad thing. Not gonna hate on that part at all.
And again, he's a backup quarterback, which is what he should be. I think now Trubisky has gone from a guy who's one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league, but now you got to say he's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
and like I said, I'm looking at his record with the Bears. I think his record is something like 28-18. That's not bad. That is not bad. And
That isn't bad.
and he has he has a touchdown interception ratio. I think he's got twice as many touchdowns as picks. Again, as a backup quarterback, Trubisky as a spot starter, Trubisky works. And that's another low key good move by Buffalo. All the people who are clowning about it, they're clowning based on what he did as a full-time starter. And while he's not that, if he starts 3-4 games for you, you can win. You could win. He can hold down the fort until, obviously somebody better, like a Josh Allen, gets back in case something does happen to him. And that's a good insurance-y policy move by Buffalo.
Yeah. Absolutely. Delbert saying that he agrees with us too. I mean, because it just makes perfect sense. Like, you're like, you're like a Josh Allen Jr. Like you're not there, but you're serviceable. You can help us if we need you. And that's a big if, and that's more what I'm hoping is. So not really, just be safe.
Right. But yeah, I think we covered everything we wanted to talk about. I mean,
just about, yeah.
Just about.
So on that note, then, I mean, there are a couple memes and stuff and this and that that I'll be posting on the page because that's just what I do. But next week, same time-ish, try to do it again. Hopefully we'll have some content. Hopefully somebody's traded. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers blows up the Packers.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully something nonsense happens.
If not, we'll be talking. I don't know. We'll figure something
NFL.
else.
That's basically it.
NFL. We'll figure out something to talk about. Our favorite uniforms in the league, dumb shit like that.
Oh yeah. But what I want to try to do is we'll be doing these lives, but I also do want to make like some little clips and like stuff like that too, like other YouTubers there too. So we'll be getting along with that. And other than that, we have our awesome one loyal follower that's been with us all night. But I mean, for a first episode, I think this is good. I'll be watching, fellas. He says, "Dang good show. We appreciate you, brother. Keep, like I said, share it.
Yes,
let
get the word out.
But yeah,
get the word out there.
Keep following, moving the chains. Keep following us. Like I said, we'll be keeping up on bullshit all the time. So, Delbert, since you're the only one watching, we'll call you out. Delbert, you have a good night, brother. All right, everybody. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, man, take care.